Yo, what's up, guys? My name is Chris. My name is Chris Tutela, alongside my good friend, colleague, and creepy co-host,
Ruben Borges.
And welcome to episode number 48 of TTS Talk. Coach, 48 episodes strong already. How you feeling?
It's awesome, pretty good.
Yep, still got that hat on. Majority of these, I think 46 of these episodes you've worn that hat.
I think it's becoming my symbol.
Do you think so?
You know me as the backwards hat. But enough about me. You just came back from Arizona. How was it?
I did. It was a great time. I got to ride some quads in the desert. Got to shoot some guns. Scottsdale's a cool city if you like to party, for sure.
Nice. So, cool.
Yeah. But so what we want to talk to you about today, Ruben and I were having a conversation before we started to record, and what we noticed and what's really big right now in fitness is competition, right? Competition within your training.
Yeah.
So there's pros and cons to that, right? And we just wanted to share that with you to make you aware of some of the cons, because competition is good. We all kind of know the good that comes from competition, but the cons you might not be so aware of. So that's what we want to share with you today, right?
So where should we start? How about...
Let's start with the pros.
Right?
And let's just kind of breeze through those, because we know competition is going to make you work a little bit harder, right? It's going to bring the best out of you and make you push yourself. It's great for the energy in a training facility, right? So it's good for the environment. You're going to push each other. So camaraderie is great. You get that extra motivation from that stuff. So those are all the pros, and I think that's pretty obvious. But now, as far as the cons go, Ruben, why don't you start, and we'll start rattling these off.
Well, something as simple is where the competition, the pros, right, will push you. There's a weight that you thought you couldn't do. So the pros, it'll help you achieve that weight or go for it, right? And then I would say cons, maybe there's a weight you shouldn't be doing. Maybe it won't be the safest technique or form you'll be doing it with, but you still get pushed to do it, and that's how you can cause a pretty catastrophic injury. Let's just say a deadlift, for example, and you've never deadlifted 400 in your life, and you're going from maybe a 250 deadlift to now 400 because it's the competition, and you want to give it a shot, and you're gonna pull it with everything you have. Probably might not have the best result.
Yeah, you just like, the thing is, like, you might go for, like Ruben was saying, you might go for a weight that you shouldn't be using. And just because you're trying to compete with the person next to you, and then your technique goes to shit, form goes out the window, and then you get yourself hurt, that is one of the problems with competition, right?
And I think it's because, I guess some people grow up early, been training, whether they play sport, and they never had an injury, or they never got hurt. I know I almost I felt this way too growing up. You almost see yourself as you're invincible. Like, if it's too heavy, I just won't lift it. I'll be all right. I'll just drop it. They don't realize actually what really could happen to your body and how drastic an injury could be if something did happen. You just think, I didn't lift it, I'll drop it. It's just over. But no, I learned firsthand when it happens, and it's like, whoa, like this could happen to me. You just never want to be put in that situation.
Yeah, it's like a slap in the face. And that's it. So you have to understand that if you do train in a group setting, in a group training environment, or if you're training with a buddy, just understand that you have to you should be pushing yourself. You should be trying to get to the next level. You should be working hard, but you have to work smart. You have to understand that just because he did it doesn't mean, or she did it doesn't mean that you should be trying to do that as well. Because if you're not capable of that, and the only logic is, well, they did it, so I'm going to try it. That's not good logic, right? And so here's the thing, as far as progression goes, from well, I can't say that word. From a progression standpoint, you have to look at it like this, because one of the biggest problems, even outside of a group training facility or when you're competing with somebody, is that people constantly like to try to test their strength rather than building strength and then testing, right?
Right on the nose, yeah.
So if you want to test yourself on a 1 rep max, a 3 rep max, a 5 rep max, let's just say whatever, you don't want to just every day you go into the gym test yourself on a 1 rep max. This week, next week, the following week, keep testing. You want to build upon that, right? So you want to build strength where you're not missing reps and failing at attempts. you want to build, 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 leave some room in the tank, so then when you do test, now you could set PRs, right? And that's one of the biggest problems you'll see at these training facilities, where every day, like, you're trying to hit new PRs and all that. And I can appreciate it. I can appreciate the energy, but look, for the general population, and for anybody for that matter, it's really not the best idea.
Yeah, and a lot of people, it's hard for people to understand. They think about the number of the weight. They don't kind of really put into the factor of a quality max, right? I mean,
or just a quality set, a quality rep in general.
In general, right? Maybe if they are going for a max, think of having a quality max. So it's your max that you can get with the best form possible. Yeah. Not necessarily the most weight you can lift off the ground, no matter what, but a rounded back, everything. And I think people start taking more pride in that. You're going to see a lot less injuries and just better overall strength.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure. And it tends to be like the common exercise is the bench press, right? Everybody just wants to put as much weight on the bar and go. Some of the younger guys, you'll see, like, they'll use the squat and the deadlift, like the big three, right? The bench, squat, deadlift. Yep. Everybody wants to push it. But then you'll see, and that you can at least almost comprehend a little bit, but then you see the same thing with bicep curls, and you see the same thing with rows. Now there's no tension on the upper back. There's the
more so with rows, you would say. I would say rows. You see a lot of that.
Yeah, but curls too. I mean, you go to a public gym and you'll see people heaving them up, and and it just looks crappy. But yeah,
it's because a hot girl walked by and you're like, well, I gotta grab on these.
Well, that makes total sense. There's a time and a place, right? I'm kidding, by the way. Don't.
Doesn't make sense. No sense at all.
But so yeah, what the whole thing that we want you to see is that if you are training in an environment that is competitive, the only person that you should really be competing with is yourself, right? You want to do your best, and whatever that is. So there's a couple things there you should be looking at. All right, I want to do my best today. So if you're tired, if you didn't sleep well the night before, if you feel like shit, maybe you just got back, you just had a long flight and you got off the plane and into the gym, like, that's not the day where you want to try to PR, right? You got to be smart about that. Realize that if you're not feeling it, that's not the day where you push it to that next level. Still train, still work hard, but maybe you save a couple reps for when you feel like $1,000,000.
I think it's hard to do. I think this goes for those guys who are just been really hungry and they see themselves getting stronger and stronger. Now they want to go all out on those days, but to be smart enough, that takes a lot to know, like you said, hey, I'm not feeling good today. I'm not a punk. I got to be smart here. I want to train to live another day, and then maybe I'll shoot for this max or this PR next week, or something like that. And I think that takes a lot, but that also says how advanced you are and that you've been in the game long enough. So take pride in making that decision because you just know better.
Right. And I'll tell you what, I've seen people who do train in that way, where they're just not, like, say they're a beginner and they go to this gym or that gym, and they like to go and they like to just give it their all the time. And then sometimes they'll come here and be like, oh, I thought that it'll be their first day, and like, oh, I thought that would have been harder. Like, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's more effective if it's hard. You can't just have that mindset all the time. And most of the time, those are the people who don't last. They either don't make any progressions in their strength.
They get burnt.
They don't look any different, and then they stop training altogether. Most of the time, down the road, which is the last thing that you want. Like you said, live to train another day. So progress, then test, then deload, progress, then test. You have to look at training as a whole and not just go all the time. And the topic of today is, the competition side of things. That's one of the drawbacks there, is because it's very easy to get into that mindset to just try to push numbers week in and week out, and that can get you fucked up. Yeah,
don't be that guy. You want to continue to strength train. Don't be the guy to do this max out, burn out, and then just stop in general. Now it's just a story now that you talk about back in the day. No, continue to train, continue to get stronger. There's different ways to get stronger. It's not the same. You got your main movement patterns, but learning different techniques. So a lot of times, and the opposite happens when people come in here. They've been training that way. They're like, man, a split squat's rough. You know, reverse lunge is rough. So now there's a new challenge. You're like, I got to be stable with this. I want to work my stability, my weaker links. And they love that and they feed off that, and then forget it. You start seeing, you know, different body compositional changes with them, and they're realizing they're getting stronger. But it's unexpected. They didn't think that was going to happen because they've only done maybe the same 3 exercises their whole life.
Yeah. Now, how many times have you seen people come here and then they'll say, maybe we're deadlifting, and we know they're advanced already, so we say, all right, let's see some of your deadlift mechanics. Let's see what it looks like. You've said you've deadlifted before, whatever, and they said they deadlifted, I don't know, 500 pounds. I got a 500 pound deadlift. All right, cool. Let's see what 135 looks like. Start warming up, and as they warm up, you're like, oh my god, like it looks like pure shit.
You almost like fear,
right? Like, so that comes from a few different reasons, but you got to understand that just because, like, you don't want to just push it unless you're a power lifter. If your goal, like, obviously their goal is not to let their technique go to shit, right? Those guys are very technical and very smart about what they do, and girls. But I think what a lot of people in the public gyms and a lot of people who kind of maybe just watch videos on YouTube or just kind of take in some information, they think that it's just about loading the bar and going and loading the bar, and now all of a sudden they're rounding their back, or you know, they get a bicep rupture because they're using a mixed grip. You know, there's a lot of things there that it's not what it should be. It's not what it needs to be. Instead, like I mentioned earlier, build and then test and repeat.
Yeah, a lot of those videos you see, these guys are hitting crazy weight, and it's phenomenal. Maybe the technique is not like flawless as they're bringing it up, but you know, that's not the case. In their case, is to lift the bar up, boom, they complete it, they're done.
Yeah, power, you know, that is the sport, right? That's what they're competing for. They're aware
they're
of the risks. They understand.
Yeah.
So when you turn exercise, when you turn fitness, let's put powerlifting aside, right? When you take fitness itself and turn it into a sport, that's where things could get a little squirrely. And for the general population, if you're not a competitive powerlifter, if you're not an Olympic weightlifter, then you know, if you're doing exercise and for competition as a sport, that's not always the best idea.
And that's another, I mean, if you really want to do that, you got to directly go to that. You find a powerlifting coach or a powerlifting gym or a group and do that. Don't just do it unsupervised and because you saw it on Instagram and you want to like try a lift and try it once and then now you're done for 2 months because something happened to your lower back and you have no idea what it is.
Right. So if you train in a place, the takeaway today is to use, if you're going to train in a group facility like this one, right, things could sometimes get competitive. So what I want you to do is remember that the only person you're competing with is yourself. So work hard, push yourself. Push the people around you. Try to progress, but progress and push yourself and work intelligently as well as hard. Don't be stupid and just try to go up because the guy next to you did. Be smart about your approach, and you're going to make more progress that way. I guarantee it. It takes time. Build, test. That's your key takeaway today. Coach, you have anything to add to that?
I think that's 100%. You were saying, progressing, then test. Do it the smart way, even if it's your buddy. I mean, we see here in the gym sometimes we have a couple guys, oh, you're going up. And like, I'll go there and be like, all right, I love his enthusiasm. He wants to help him out, make him feel good. But even the guys say, oh, no, that felt actually just right. And I'm like, it was just right. Good. Stay there, kind of work that movement. But, you know, it's okay. Guys obviously don't mean no harm by it. They want to, like, push you, you know, but then it's, you know, our job as a coach to kind of see that was really good. We're going to make a smaller jump to that big jump. Yeah. But and some guys are realizing themselves they know, so that's always good to see.
Right. Or people, they'll say you got to go up, and they're like, you actually got to go 50 pounds lighter than what you just did.
Sometimes that happens.
So yeah, my back was turned for a second. I turned around. And,
I love that. You know, hey, but
take 50 pounds off the bar. Yeah. You got to be smart. All right, guys, I hope that this episode helps. I know it was a quick one, but we wanted to get some information out for you today. But just take that piece of advice, whether you train with a training partner, a group of friends, or at a group training facility. Be smart. Know how to progress appropriately. You're going to be stronger, bigger, healthier, and in the game for the long haul because of that. So take that into account. If you have any questions for me on this, you can shoot me a DM on Instagram. I am at Chris_Tutela, Tutela. Shoot me a DM. I'm always happy to help. Coach, where can these guys find you?
You guys can also find me on Instagram at _Ruben, RUBEN, _Borges, BORGES. Feel free to ask me any questions.
All right, guys, I hope this episode helps, and we will catch you next week on another episode of
TTS Talk.